When the out-of-control truck rushed to the sidewalk, I was arguing with Jiang Yan. Today is the second anniversary of our love, but he was 2 hours late to pick up by Yueguang from China. Can you stop being so petty? Jiang Yan stood on the side of the road, his eyes full of disappointment when he looked at me. Yao Yao and I grew up together, and she has no one to rely on in China. Is it right for me not to pick her up? I questioned him. So you plan to spend the day together as 3 people today? Jiang Yan choked and said nothing, but Shang Yaoyao behind him looked back and forth between us, and almost cried when she spoke. Sister Xiaozhu, don't be angry. Yan just felt sorry for me, so he said he wanted to take me out for dinner. Her eyes were full of tears, like a small white flower swaying in the wind. If you don't welcome me, I'll leave. After saying that, she turned around and wanted to leave. Jiang Yan quickly stopped her, turned around and glanced at me with a warning. Shinju, if you keep making trouble like this, we will break up. I was stunned. In the 2 years of dating Jiang Yan, whenever there was something that didn't go his way, he would threaten me to break up like he is doing now. At this moment, the system's prompt sounded in my mind. Warning, breaking up means the strategy has failed, and if the strategy fails, not only will I not get the mission reward, but I will also be wiped out. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Jiang Yan curled his lips in pleasure, walked over and held my hand. Okay, Xiaozhu, we won't break up, just have a meal and send her home, okay? His nails dug into my palm, and I forced a smile. Okay. Perhaps because he felt that he had me in his hands, Jiang Yan was in a good mood all the way. He put his arm around my waist, leaned forward slightly, and said in a low voice, Xiaozhu, you are so good. Shang Yaoyao, who was following behind us, turned pale with such an intimate gesture, but I didn't want to pay attention to her, because before I tried to capture Jiang Yan, I had observed him for a long time. Jiang Yan used to be mature and steady, not like now. He was so childish that he used breaking up to force me to surrender. What on earth is wrong? I was lost in thought when I suddenly heard a shrill whistle. Beep beep beep. I looked in the direction of the sound and found that a large truck out of control was rushing towards the sidewalk and heading straight for us. The crowd was in chaos, screams were heard everywhere. Jiang Yan wanted to pull me away at the first moment, but he turned around and saw Sheng Yaoyao standing there motionless. She cried like a pear blossom in the rain. Yan, save me. I don't want to die. Jiang Yan panicked instantly. He subconsciously shook off my hand, but he didn't control the strength. I was wearing high heels, my center of gravity was unstable, and he pushed me unexpectedly, and I fell to the ground, unable to stand up in pain. Jiang Yan, I shouted at his back. He paused, but didn't look back, and hurried to Sheng Yaoyao, taking her to a safe place. Seeing that the out-of-control truck was getting closer and closer to me, everyone was running for their lives, and no one cared about my life or death. Bang. Accompanied by the harsh sound of tire friction and the intense pain in my body, I clearly realized that I was dying. After the heart-wrenching pain, there was a sudden flash of white light in front of my eyes. When I regained consciousness, my soul was already floating in the air. The system sighed. Host, you are dead again. Why say again? Because in the process of conquering Jiang Yan, I actually died twice. The first time he drowned, he had to choose between 2 options, and Jiang Yan chose Sheng Yaoyao. The second time he had an earthquake, he had to choose between 2 options, and Jiang Yan chose Sheng Yaoyao. This time, he had to choose between 2 options, and Jiang Yan still chose Sheng Yaoyao. The system asked me, I advised you to change your target, but you disagreed. Do you regret it now? I said, no regrets. The air was silent for a few seconds. The system was so angry that the usually cold electronic voice actually had a hint of regret. Host, do you know, just now was your last chance to capture someone, the last time. Do you understand what that means? Of course I understand. This means that I can never be reborn again, but I really don't regret it. We agreed that if you succeed in capturing someone, you can exchange for a reward. Now that you fail, you have to accept the corresponding punishment, I said. Ask it. What punishment? Your soul will be forever imprisoned by Jiang Yan's side. As soon as the words fell, an invisible force sent me back to the scene of the car accident. The wind whistled in my ears, the system's questioning of me echoed in the air. What's so good about Jiang Yan? Is it worth you wasting all your chances to stay with him? If I had known you were so love-brained, I shouldn't have cared about you and let you fend for yourself. I blinked my sore eyes, was silent for a while, and said softly, well, don't worry about me. The system never thought that I would answer like this. It didn't understand why I was so obsessed with Jiang Yan, angrily scolded me a few words, and simply fell into hibernation. I sat on the roof of the cardboard, propped up my chin and looked at the chaotic crowd. I saw two familiar figures at a glance. Shang Yaoyao pulled Jiang Yan's clothes and talked. But he seemed not to hear, just looking at me motionlessly. Oh, no, it was looking at my body crushed by the truck. Everything around seemed to be still. After a long while, he suddenly pushed Sheng Yaoyao away and stumbled towards me. He fell on the way, and blood was flowing from his palm. My body was unrecognizable. He only took a look and couldn't bear to look away. I was far away and saw him open his lips, as if mumbling to himself. I hurriedly flew over and got close to him, but the moment I heard that sentence clearly, a thunder exploded in my scalp. He said, "Xiao Zhu, you will be fine. I know you are a strategist and can be reborn. You died twice before. And you came back to life in the end. It's the same this time, right?" As he said that, he seemed to have faith again, took a deep breath, wiped his face, and said firmly, "I'll wait for you to come back." I was shocked. No wonder Jiang Yan knew that he could easily control me by breaking up, because he knew from the beginning that I was a strategist, but he didn't know that it was my last chance to capture her. "Jiang Yan, I can't come back." The ambulance and the police car arrived at the same time. When the doctor was about to put my body in the car, Jiang Yan stopped them tightly. Don't touch Xiao Zhu. She is not dead. She will wake up in a few days." Everyone looked at each other. The doctor comforted him. "Mr. Jiang, I know you can't accept it for a while, but your girlfriend is dead. You have to take care of yourself." When Jiang Yan heard the word death, he became emotional. He grabbed the doctor's white coat, his arms were bulging with veins, and shouted, "Shut up, Xiao Zhu is not dead. How could she die? She clearly dash." The voice stopped abruptly. I saw the nurse gave him an injection, which should be a sedative or something like that. He hissed uncomfortably, covered his arm and took a step back, and soon fainted on the stretcher. The atmosphere in the ambulance was heavy. No one spoke along the way, until the nurse who helped Jiang Yan clean the wound cried out. Everyone followed her line of sight and saw Jiang Yan was crying. He was still in a coma and had no clear perception, but the tears from his eyes had already wet the dark stretcher. He should have a good relationship with his girlfriend, right? Oh, what a pity. Hearing these sighs, I couldn't help but sneer. If they had seen the old Jiang Yan, they would know how much he hated me. The year I met Jiang Yan was the darkest day of my life. My parents divorced, and neither of them wanted me. The only person in the world who was good to me died that year, Rundong, after being diagnosed with depression. When I held the knife and wanted to stab it into my abdomen for the first time, the system found me. It said that as long as I completed the strategy task and helped it achieve the KPI, I could redeem a reward. My eyelids trembled, and I asked it, "Can you bring the dead back to life?" The system was very sure. "Of course you can." It gave me a few days to let me personally choose the target of the strategy, but I was not interested in anyone, until I met Jiang Yan in the martyrs' cemetery. He was sitting on the long steps, and the fine spring rain wet the broken hair on his forehead. He didn't speak, nor did he cry, just sitting quietly. The wind blew the willow branches. I stood not far away, staring at the tear mole at the end of his eye for a long time. Then I gently opened my lips and told the system, "I want to choose him. His strategy is very difficult, and before you." The system reminded me hesitantly, "Several strategy players have been wiped out because of failure. Are you sure?" I nodded firmly. The system couldn't beat me, and in desperation, it helped me apply for 3 strategy opportunities. The higher the difficulty coefficient, the more strategy opportunities. From that day on, I spent time observing Jiang Yan and found that he was gentle, humble, and polite to everyone. But it happened that this person spoke rudely the first time he saw me. "TSK, tell me, did you sprain your ankle this time? Or did you throw yourself into my arms?" I was stunned. He narrowed his eyes at me and sneered, "Why are you pretending to be stupid? I wouldn't like women like you even if you were naked and stood in front of me." I didn't understand what he meant at the time. Now that I think about it, he must have known that I was a conqueror at that time. Otherwise, why would he be so repulsive to me? Later, I stayed by his side at a distance that was neither far nor close. One time, his friend called me and said that he had a stomachache and asked me to go over and deliver medicine. When I arrived, I saw him sitting on the sofa in high spirits. He asked me, "Why are you here again? You are really haunting me." I pursed my lips, said nothing, and just handed him the medicine. He didn't take it, but leaned over slightly and whispered in my ear, "Since you are here, I'll buy you a drink, okay?" After he finished speaking, my vision was blurred, the red wine poured down from the top of my head, along my cheeks, and all the way wet my chest. Summer clothes are very thin, and even the color of the suspenders can be seen clearly. Jiang Yan glanced at me frivolously, and seeing that I had no reaction, he seemed even more angry. Being humiliated by me like this, and being watched by so many people, Shinju, do you have no self-esteem? I raised my eyes to look at him, the flickering light sprinkled on that face like the breeze and the bright moon, and the teardrop mole at the end of the eye was shaky. At that moment, I opened my mouth, but couldn't say a word of rebuttal. It's hard to imagine that such a person would agree to be with me later. It was a drag racing competition. Jiang Yan gave me an invitation letter for the first time. When I arrived, I happened to see him standing on the podium, hugging two hot car model girls. When our eyes met, he smiled at me. It was a very evil smile. Then, under my gaze, he slowly kissed their lips. Don't you want to be with me, now? Do you still want to be with me? He asked me this after the game. I helped him wipe off the lipstick residue on the corners of his mouth and said without hesitation, yes. He looked at me for a long time, his eyes dark and unclear. Suddenly, he grabbed my wrist, pointed at the car not far away, and asked me fiercely, do you dare to play a game of Speed? If you win, we will be together. The way to play Speed is very wild. When two cars collide, whoever brakes first loses. The whole audience sighed. Several girls helped me to smooth things over. Oh, forget it. Shinju has no experience at all. Aren't you forcing her to play with her life? Yes. Don't let girls get hurt. Jiang Yan was indifferent, and I looked up at his face and slowly uttered two words, dare. The man's pupils shrank suddenly, and something seemed to flash in his eyes. I couldn't tell. Anyway, in that race, he was the first to brake. When I got off the car, my stomach was churning and I staggered to my knees. Jiang Yan threw his helmet in anger, pulled me up, and asked me in a roar, are you fucking going to die? I just looked at him calmly and asked, can we be together now? His eyes were red and he was speechless for a long time. In this way, we naturally dated for 2 years. Everyone said that I loved Jiang Yan so much, but whenever Jiang Yan heard this, he always stared at me with burning eyes and raised his thin lips with a sarcastic arc. Love. This kind of woman is the best at lying. She doesn't love me. I lowered my eyes and said nothing. After that, he often brought women home to test my bottom line and broke up at every turn to force me to compromise. Later, Sheng Yaoyao returned to China. 3. Choose one of two. Every time I die because of Jiang Yan's choice. Every time I die, the world restarts. Until I use up my last chance to capture someone, and I can never be reborn again. Actually, if you think about it carefully, how can the captured person feel sympathy for the insincere capturer when he knows everything? After all, I was too naive. When Jiang Yan woke up, I was wandering around the ward out of boredom. The door was suddenly opened. Sheng Yaoyao walked up with red eyes, grabbed his hand tightly, and asked with concern, Yan, are you feeling better? You scared me just now. She meant that at the scene of the car accident, Jiang Yan said that I would wake up, but it was obvious that Jiang Yan didn't want to talk to her more. He propped himself up, unlocked his phone, glanced at the time, and suddenly said in surprise, 2 hours have passed. Sheng Yaoyao didn't understand, and asked in agreement, yes, what happened? Jiang Yan's eyes trembled violently, his fingers couldn't help but tremble slightly, and his voice was tight. This is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Sheng Yaoyao was frightened by him, and stood there without daring to answer. The first 2 times, the world restarted less than half an hour after my death, but this time, 2 hours have passed, and the world is still running. Jiang Yan stood up suddenly, looking sad, like a trapped beast. After a moment, he seemed to suddenly think of something, pulled out the indwelling needle and ran out. Sheng Yaoyao hurried to chase. I floated behind them, secretly guessing where Jiang Yan would go, until the familiar house number appeared in front of me. I realized that he came to my house, when the door lock was pried open. Jiang Yan rushed in at the first time and searched for my figure everywhere. Xiaozhu, I know you're not dead. Are you hiding from me? There was no one in the living room, the kitchen, or the study. Finally, it was my bedroom. After pushing the door open, he suddenly stopped, as if he was nailed there, unable to move, because the snow-white walls around were covered with photos. He looked at them one by one, and his eyes gradually turned red. Ian, you took so many photos with her. Sheng Yaoyao looked ugly, and the jealousy in her eyes could not be suppressed. We have known each other for more than 10 years, and you haven't." She suddenly fell silent halfway through her words. Jiang Yan stared at her, his face graying down until it turned pale. He almost squeezed out these 4 words from his throat. "This is not me." I looked at the man with a warm smile in the photo, and couldn't help but curl my lips. Yes, that's not Jiang Yan. Why did you choose him as my target at first sight? Why waste all 3 chances on him? Isn't it because of his face? That face that looks exactly like his? The balcony window was not closed tightly, and the evening breeze blew into the room, blowing down a group photo. Jiang Yan picked it up, saw the elegant handwriting on the back, and suddenly his eyes turned red. "I wish my little bamboo is safe and sound." Lin Su, memories are like the wind at dusk, slowly dispelling the haze in my heart. The first time I heard the name Lin Su, it was 10 years ago, on the afternoon of the 2nd year of high school, when the class division test was held. My deskmate was a slacker, the kind who even copied my homework. Before the test, he asked me to help him. I didn't agree to cheat. So after school that day, he blocked me at the back door of the classroom and laughed at me in front of all the classmates. "Little fat girl, you are ugly, but you are not kind. Asking you to pass the answer is a good deed, understand? You don't appreciate it, you deserve to be fat and ugly." At that time, I took a lot of Chinese medicine to treat acne, and my hormones were disordered, so I was really fat like a little penguin. Many classmates agreed. My face turned red and I was overwhelmed by the inferiority complex. Amidst the many ridicules, a clear male voice suddenly interrupted. "Does commenting on girls' appearance make you so proud?" My eyes moved at the sound. The boy in a black t-shirt and a black cap stood beside me with his hands in his pockets. Later I learned that his name was Lin Su. He was a senior who was 2 years older than me. Lin Su raised his chin, pointed at my deskmate with his eyes, and said with contempt, "I'm asking you, trash bug. You don't know how to respect girls, right?" My deskmate was stunned for a moment, and after reacting, he cursed and took off his school uniform jacket to fight. Lin Su took 2 steps forward and blocked me. I don't remember what happened next. Before the fight, Lin Su put his hat on my head, and my vision was blocked tightly. I could only hear my deskmate's painful groan. When the surroundings were quiet, I slowly raised my head and bumped into a pair of cold eyes. "It's okay, you can go home." Lin Su's voice was very low, but it had a soothing power. From that day on, my deskmate never made trouble for me again, and even asked the teacher to change seats on his own initiative. I know that Lin Su helped, because a few times when I was going home from school, I saw him hooking his arm around my deskmate's shoulder. He seemed to be smiling, but his eyes were extremely cold. "Hey, brother, please forgive me, I will never dare to bully girls again." Lin Su looked gloomy and kicked him. "Have you learned your lesson?" "Good, good, very good." When his face softened a little, my deskmate rode away on his bike. I was very grateful to Lin Su, so I bought a bunch of snacks to thank him. He was playing basketball with his friends at that time. After hearing what I was here for, he raised his eyebrows, lowered his head and took the cheapest lollipop, and smiled at me. "Thanks, you can keep the others." So I took the snacks back to the classroom. After school, I passed by the canteen, and a few meters away, Lin Su and his friends walked in front. I heard someone ask him, "Who is the girl who sent snacks this afternoon? She has a pretty face, but she is too fat." I subconsciously held my breath to hear the answer. Lin Su suddenly stopped, hit the man on the shoulder, and said seriously, "Shut up." After walking a few steps, he took out the lollipop from his pocket, unwrapped it, put it in his mouth, and said vaguely, "It's cute." My steps stopped where I was. Looking at their backs as they walked away, I suddenly realized that it was the first time someone used the word cute to describe me. There seemed to be an electric current passing through my heart, and it was numb. The workload in the 3rd year of high school was very heavy, and I lost more than 20 pounds. Gradually, many boys began to pursue me and write love letters to me, but I was also excluded by the girl group because of this. They called me to a corner where no one was, where the surveillance camera could not see. I was pressed to the ground, and the leading girl took a cup of boiling water and poured it on my calves little by little. "You were so fat before, but now you've lost weight and are wearing short skirts, right? Who are you trying to seduce? My boyfriend wrote you a love letter. Are you very proud?" I was in so much pain that I couldn't speak. My voice was intermittent. "Who is your boyfriend?" I didn't know what this sentence offended her. She got even angrier, ordered others to clamp my chin, and poured boiling water on my face. I closed my eyes subconsciously, but the pain I imagined didn't come. Instead I fell into a warm embrace. The boy's hard chest muscles almost suffocated me. "How is it? Are you okay?" Hearing the familiar clear voice, I suddenly opened my eyes and found that my back was already soaked with cold sweat. the girl was pushed to the ground and screamed. The boiling water scalded her own face. The noise was so loud that when the dean of teaching came over, the girls were so scared that they confessed everything. Lin Su greeted the director, picked me up by the waist, and rushed into the school clinic. When I applied cold compresses, it hurt so much that I wanted to cry, but I gritted my teeth and tried very hard to hold back my tears. Lin Su lowered his eyes, looked at me for a long time, opened his mouth, and said, "Cry if you want to." I am not a crybaby. My parents have been cheating on me since I was very young, they don't love me, and they got married just to register my household registration. Every time I was wronged and wanted to talk, I was only scolded and reprimanded. Okay, why are you so fragile? It's just being scolded for being fat. Who hasn't been scolded? I named you Shinju, hoping that you would be as tough as bamboo, but you only know how to cry. It's unlucky. In the past, I saw that other children would be comforted by their parents as soon as they cried, but if I cried, my parents would be even more annoyed with me. Tears are just a pile of useless liquid in front of people who don't care about you, so no matter how uncomfortable I was later, I never cried again. But that evening, in the infirmary, Lin Su rubbed my head, leaned over to look at me, and said, "Your eyes are red." I closed my eyes and wanted to turn my back, but I heard him sigh, "Shinju, you can show weakness in front of me." Because of that sentence, my tears burst out instantly. I cried until it was getting dark and the school doctor was about to go off work, and then I realized that I didn't bring my wallet. Lin Su helped me to advance the money. I wrote down his phone number, added him as a friend after returning home, and transferred the money, but he didn't take it until the next day. I tentatively sent a question mark. The other side replied immediately, "What's wrong? Why not? I owe it first, and I'll have dinner with you after the college entrance examination." I held the phone, and the corners of my mouth rose unconsciously. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned. After the college entrance examination, Lin Su seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. All the messages I sent him fell into the sea. We met again on New Year's Eve when I was a sophomore in college. My parents had already separated, and I was the only one in the huge house. Fireworks were going off downstairs, and I was alone in my room, watching the Spring Festival Gala alone. The clock pointed to 0, and my phone suddenly vibrated. "LX, Happy New Year." I was stunned, my heartbeat seemed to miss a beat, and my fingertips trembled as I typed, "Lin Su, is that you? Or was your account hacked?" The dialog box showed, "Typing." I waited for about 5 minutes, and finally got his reply. It was very short, so short that there were only 2 words, "It's me. Where have you been in the past 2 years? Why didn't you contact me?" The second half of the sentence, after all, could not be said, but the person on the other side seemed to have sensed it and called me back. I picked up the phone. I was caught off guard by the clear voice that was familiar yet strange, and I didn't know what to say for a moment. It was Lin Su who broke the silence first. He asked me to go to the balcony and face the 2 o'clock direction. I didn't know why, but I did it anyway. 10 seconds later, there was a loud bang. The bright fireworks bloomed in the lonely night, and the petals fell like rain, as if they were within reach. I kept answering the phone and looked up for a long time. A man's low voice came from the other end. "Sorry, I was on a mission before," and handed in my phone. "I missed a lot of your text messages." My breath stagnated. Suddenly I remembered that Lin Su was studying in the police academy last year on this day. "You wished me a happy new year. This year it's my turn." After hanging up the phone, I saw the reply from my parents, "Happy New Year, Dad." "Got it. Happy New Year, Mom." Busy. None of them wished me a happy new year. Only Lin Su, only Lin Su, only Lin Su, who had been out of touch for 2 years, set off fireworks for me on New Year's Eve and wished me a happy new year. I said, "I don't like to cry, but my tears just don't listen." Those 2 years in my junior and senior year were the few happy times for me. After Lin Su was transferred back to the city, we met more often and our relationship gradually became familiar. My roommate asked me, "The handsome guy who came downstairs to pick you up again, is he your boyfriend?" I denied it and said, "No, just my brother." After answering, my face was hot. Will my brother take his sister to a couple's restaurant for a date every week? Will my brother look at me when he is asked if there is a girl he likes when playing Truth or Dare? Will my brother climb over the wall to take his sister to the hospital at 2 in the morning when he finds out that his sister has dysmenorrhea, and stay up all night to rub her belly? No. But I dare not ask more. To me, Lin Su is like a traveler walking in the desert, suddenly seeing a distant oasis. I can only stare at it from afar. I am afraid that if I get close, The beautiful dream will be shattered. At the end of May, graduation is approaching, and I am exhausted by my graduation project every day. Lin Su drove me to the beach to relax. We met a few couples on the road and invited us to play kayaking together. This seems to be a competition organized by a company, and there is a temporary shortage of people. Come on, sister. Your boyfriend has such a good figure and good physical strength, right? If you win the first place, there will be a reward. My ears turned red. Ah. He is not dash, okay, Lin Su interrupted me, and I looked at him, wondering if it was my illusion. The corners of the man's lips seemed to be hooked. When we got on the kayak, a few seconds before the race started, I belatedly asked, so what is the reward for the first place? Lin Su's eyes wandered, and he answered unnaturally, a very exquisite Swiss Army knife, very exquisite. From the tone, Lin Su should like it very much, with the belief of wanting to take the first place. Even though Lin Su and I had little experience, we slowly fought for the top 3, but the first place seems to be really king level. In the end, Lin Su, who was in good physical condition, was also gritting his teeth and holding on. I glanced at the bulging blue veins on his arms and the cold sweat on his forehead. In fact, I really want to tell him that it doesn't matter if you can't win, I will give you a more exquisite army knife tonight, while thinking. Our kayak has been slowly catching up with the first place. When we passed by, the man suddenly let go and said to Lin Su with a smile, "Brother, you're trying too hard. My wife is shy and she must be embarrassed to kiss in front of so many people. I'll give you the first place." I was stunned. What kiss? Isn't it a Swiss Army knife? Looking back and meeting Lin Su's smiling eyes, I realized that I was deceived. Sorry, I have ulterior motives. Lin Su held my hand, stood on the seashore with a beautiful sunset, and apologized to me in a low voice. The reward for the first place has never been a Swiss Army knife. It's 2 tickets to the capital, and, kiss your lover. My head buzzed. It's meaningless for me to play dumb again. Lin Su, you don't have to work so hard. If you don't work so hard, I will be with you. He stared at me quietly and spoke slowly, Xiaozhu, I want to win, I want to be with you, I also want. He pursed his lips and gently held my face, kiss you. Boom, 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 my heart almost jumped out of my chest. Lin Su tilted his head and kissed my forehead devoutly. The picture was frozen at this moment. Xiaozhu, I've got your hand. Being Lin Su's girlfriend is a very happy thing. He is always gentle and always emotionally stable, no matter how much friction there is between us. The first person to bow his head is definitely him. Alas, little aunt, I was wrong. Please pay attention to me. When I received this peace text message, I was standing at the door of the police station, delivering medicine to him. Lin Su has a bad stomach and always has stomach aches every 3 or 5 days. When he came out with his colleagues after get off work, he saw me and his eyes lit up, Xiaozhu, but before he came to me, the corner of his clothes was grabbed by a female colleague. Su, my car broke down. Can you give me a ride? I stood there, watching them with interest. Lin Su frowned, pulled his clothes back from her hand, and waved back. Xiao Luo, you take her, he lives in the opposite direction of my home. The female colleague bit her lip and asked pitifully. Are you afraid that Xiao Zhu will misunderstand? I can help you explain to her. Lin Su raised his eyebrows, and impatience appeared between his eyebrows. Sorry. I don't have the habit of celebrating anniversaries with 3 people. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The female colleague was frustrated and left quickly. Lin Su opened his arms, walked towards me, and hugged me and turned around in a circle. My time is precious. I can only spend it with my girlfriend. I am ticklish, so I dodged gently. Didn't you say you had a stomachache and wanted to take medicine first? He opened the car door, protected my head, and carried me into the passenger seat, chuckled and said, it won't hurt when I see you. Lin Su started the car, looked straight ahead, stopped at the traffic light, and suddenly handed me a bouquet of champagne roses. I bought it during lunch break. I thought I was going to make you angry, so I had to coax you. After handing it over, he raised his hand and rubbed the tip of his nose, as if he wanted to sneeze, but he held it back. I noticed something was wrong. I lifted his collar and saw a large rash. Stupid, you are allergic to pollen. Are you going to die? I urged him to go to the hospital, and the young doctor who was seeing him smiled at him. You are allergic to love. Awesome. I blushed and turned my eyes away, but heard Lin Su speak openly. That's it. She is my whole world. Lin Su and I are so smooth. It's so smooth that it feels unreal. It was our first love, without any third parties, misunderstandings, or cheating. And we got engaged. Lin Su took a wedding leave in advance and accompanied me to Suzhou. For some reason, my heart has been aching lately, as if I am about to lose something important. I am very uneasy. When I went to Shiyuan Temple to ask for a peace charm, I knelt in front of the Buddha and kowtowed 3 times, clasped my hands together, and closed my eyes to pray. I hope Lin Su will have a safe and happy life. As if there was telepathy, I looked back and happened to meet his eyes. Lin Su stood under the Bodhi tree hung with red silk, smiling at me with curved eyebrows. At that moment, I thought, if there really is a God, then he must be able to hear how much I like Lin Su. When we walked out of the temple hand in hand, a little girl stopped us politely and handed us a photo. Just now I saw you looking at each other with great interest, so I took a photo and gave it to you. Lin Su smiled and thanked, and put the photo in the pocket closest to his heart. On the second day of the wedding leave, Lin Su received a call and was about to leave in a hurry. He hugged me tightly and said, "Shinju, the mission is completed. I will marry you." Before I could say anything, the door was closed. The midsummer evening breeze rushed into the room, but I shivered for no reason. In the next 6 months, Lin Su lost contact again. In a blink of an eye, it was the end of the year again. Just like a few years ago, I huddled in the huge room, watching the Spring Festival Gala. The phone rang. I picked it up. Fireworks exploded outside the window, and it was noisy across the street. Firecrackers, curses, screams, and even gunshots, all mixed together. The other end paused for a moment and called my name softly, "Xiao Zhu." My tears instantly flowed down. "Where are you? Are you okay? Are you injured anywhere?" He avoided answering, breathing heavily. "Are the fireworks beautiful this year?" "Well, it's a pity that they are not as good as the ones you gave me that year, when I was 20 years old." Lin Su set off fireworks for me once. The wall clock ticked, and the hour hand pointed to 0. He interrupted me. "Xiao Zhu, new Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year," one after another, each one lower than the last. I covered my face and bit my lips tightly, not letting myself make any sound. Tears struggled to flow out of my eyes, dripping onto the dark blanket, leaving large patches of water stains. I know, he wanted to say all the blessings for the rest of his life. Bang, the sound of gunfire was deafening. Almost instantly, the phone was hung up. Only the fireworks outside the window were reflected on the cold glass. It flickered endlessly. I knelt on the ground, sobbing. "Lin Su, you lied. You clearly said that you would accompany me for the rest of my life. You clearly said that you would marry me after the mission was completed. You lied, you liar, liar." When I saw Lin Su's body, I could hardly breathe. It felt like someone was holding my throat tightly, like a needle piercing my skin and bleeding, and it hurt so much that I was numb. "Wake up, Lin Su, don't sleep anymore. Wake up, please." No one answered me. I held his cold hands and kept rubbing them, and they always warmed up. Xiao Luo's eyes were red, and he choked up and said, "Sister-in-law, I'm sorry. The day of closing the net was originally smooth, but those damn people actually carried guns with them. Captain Lin was shot and forced into the woods by them. When we arrived, we found that he had killed several drug dealers, and he himself." He couldn't say anything more, and with trembling hands, he handed over Lin Su's belongings to me. The amulet pierced by bullet holes, the bloody group photo, and a line of words written on the back of the photo at some unknown time. "I wish my little bamboo peace and safety." Lin Su, how ridiculous. The person who wished me peace, in the end, was not safe. I don't know how I got home, nor how I waited until Lin Su was buried. There is no name on his tombstone. Every day I sit on the steps of the Martyrs' Cemetery, looking at the square tombstone. When I wanted to commit suicide, the system found me. I agreed to help it complete the strategy task, because I wanted to revive Lin Su, but it's really hard to find a target. So hard. My mind is full of Lin Su. When I was 17, Lin Su stood up for me in the classroom. When I was 18, Lin Su saved me from the bully and rushed into the infirmary with me in his arms. When I was 20, Lin Su set off fireworks for me and wished me a Happy New Year. When I was 23, Lin Su kissed me at the beach and confessed to me. When I was 24, Lin Su gave me flowers to comfort me even if he was allergic. When I was 25, Lin Su smiled at me under the Bodhi tree in Jietai Temple. Finally, at the age of 26, Lin Su was buried in the ground and had no life. How could I forget him? So the first time I saw Jiang Yan, I decided to choose him only by looking at this face that looks exactly like Lin Su day and night. Can I have the motivation to live? Very despicable, right? But at that time, I was really on the verge of collapse. If I can't see that face, I will go crazy. So all your previous dog-licking behaviors were not for Jiang Yan? The the system that had been dormant for a long time suddenly spoke again. But for Lin Su, I nodded. At the same time, Jiang Yan, who knew the truth, began to go crazy in my apartment. All the photos of Lin Su and I were torn off by him one by one and thrown into the trash can. With red eyes, he pressed the lighter and watched coldly as the jumping flames licked the photos inch by inch. I was so angry that I rushed over to stop him, but my fingers just touched his body and suddenly penetrated through. It's useless, host, you're dead. Yes, I'm just a soul, I can't reach the entity at all. In despair, the system gave me an idea. I can self-destruct. I'll give you one last chance to capture. I was stunned, trembling my lips, and asked, why? It was silent for a moment, and answered, because your lover is a hero. Heroes should not be reduced to dust. He should live well and enjoy a happy and fulfilling life. Almost instantly, my eyes were filled with tears, my consciousness was gradually stripped away, and the white light appeared before my eyes again. The voice of the system was getting farther and farther away. In the end, there was only a whisper, host. This time, it's really the last time. I wish you all the best. Bring Lin Su back safely. When I opened my eyes again, the world had restarted. The familiar apartment environment made me barely feel a little bit of reality. I propped myself up and saw that the photos on the wall were still intact, and I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. My fingertips gently stroked Lin Su's cheek, and he smiled at me so gently. Suddenly, there was a violent knock at the entrance. The door opened. It was Jiang Yan. He should have come running, right? His hair was messy. The first time he saw me, he grabbed my wrist and asked, who is he, Shinju? Are you using me as a substitute? I smiled, and I couldn't help but rub the teardrop mole at the end of his eye with my fingertips. Jiang Yan and Lin Su look so similar. Even the position of this teardrop mole is exactly the same. After a long time without getting my answer, Jiang Yan's hand strength gradually increased, and his eyes gradually became red. You know what? At first, I really hated you. I hated your efforts to get close to me, and your false concern as a captor. Do you treat me as a human being? You weave a beautiful dream for me, deceive me into falling in love with you, and then throw me away like trash. Finally, tell me that all this is fake. He shook my shoulders hard. I couldn't hold on, and my back was pressed against the wall. I thought you were different from them, because no matter how I humiliated you or made things difficult for you, the way you looked at me was always full of love. So that last time, I was really about to fall in love with you. He supported himself with both hands on my side, and slammed his right fist against the wall, his tone trembling. I thought you were dead, and I rushed into your house like crazy, but what I saw. He pulled my wrist, pushed open the bedroom door, pointed at the photos on the wall, and laughed so hard that his eyes became redder and redder. Is it fun, Shinju? Tell me, is it fun to play with other people's sincerity? Huh? I really hate you. Because you are more shameful than them. I was pushed to the ground, and the cold tiles scratched my palm. Blood dripped down, staining the ground red. It hurts, but I couldn't cry anymore. Tell me, who are you looking at through my face? I slowly propped myself up, looked up at his eyes, and answered word by word. My love. He suddenly lost his voice. The face was pale and his eyelashes trembled uncontrollably. Okay, you are really good. He slowly turned his back, raised his hand to wipe his eyes, and when he turned to me again, he was full of anger. He grabbed my neck. In that case, I'll kill you and let you go down to accompany him. How about it? I closed my eyes, didn't struggle, and let him tighten his palm vigorously. Ahem, actually, I should have died a long time ago. I should have died in the car accident. It was the system. It was the system that sacrificed itself in exchange for my rebirth. Jiang Yan didn't say anything, just gritted his teeth and looked at me. That look was so scary that it wanted to tear me apart. I think I might have failed the system. Jiang Yan really hates me. My chest was stuffy, my throat was hoarse, and I gradually couldn't make a sound. It was difficult to breathe until I suffocated. Suddenly, that hand let go of me. Jiang Yan clamped my chin, and his voice was very light when he spoke, with a cold breath. I suddenly regret it. It's boring to let you die so easily. Why don't you stay with me and witness your own death with your own eyes? Huh? I was imprisoned in Jiang Yan's private villa. He and Lin Su are two completely different people. I can always tell who is who. If Lin Su is the moon hanging high in the sky, then Jiang Yan is a wild and untamable lone wolf. He locked me in the room, and except for delivering 3 meals a day, the door was always closed. At first, I refused to eat. Jiang Yan squatted in front of me, holding a photo of me and Lin Su in his fingertips, took out a lighter from his pocket and pressed the switch. The flames jumped over the edge of the photo. I will burn it every time you go on a hunger strike, until all the photos are burned. I struggled to rush over, but my wrist was firmly grasped. Jiang Yan kept his word. I watched several photos turn into ashes. Those were my only thoughts. I didn't dare to go against Jiang Yan. I don't know if it was my illusion, but after I ate on time, he was visibly relieved. Occasionally, he would take me out of mercy, but every time on that occasion, Jiang Yan was surrounded by other women. If you look closely, you will find that they all look a bit like me, just like revenge for me using him as a substitute. I can only pretend I didn't see it. Time passed day by day, and according to the date, Shang Yaoyao will return home today. Choose one of two is about to start again, but I am really tired this time. I lay on the cold floor, staring at the ceiling in a daze. I was thinking, if Jiang Yan still chooses Shang Yaoyao, then after I die, can I also see Lin Su? Can we continue to be together, then go to death? When this thought came up, I was surprisingly calm. The only thing I felt guilty about was the system. It sacrificed itself. But I was so useless. The roar of a car engine sounded downstairs, followed by the girl's light coquettish voice and the man's doting response. A thunderbolt struck outside the window, and the dense tree canopy was split in half. The door of the room was pushed open. Shang Yaoyao came over and kicked me on the ground with her toes, sneering. I looked out the window with empty eyes, until lightning struck the villa. All the lights in the room went out, and the choking thick black smoke kept pouring in. The beams fell suddenly, trapping Shang Yaoyao and me in the corner. I thought, I finally know how I will die this time. The fire was raging. In a trance, I seemed to see Jiang Yan rushing into the room. His clothes were messy and he was in a panic. After looking at me, he didn't stop and ran straight to the dying Shang Yaoyao. For the last time, he still chose her. I closed my eyes in despair. As if someone turned around and ran towards me, a pair of hands held my waist steadily. Shinju, why are you a strategist? Why do you have a lover who died in the line of duty? I've been torturing you during this period. I think I'm going crazy. Jiang Yan patted my face. I wanted to open my eyes, but my eyelids were so heavy. Is your lover called Lin Su? To be honest, I'm so jealous of him. Just now I was thinking, if it was him, I would definitely rush to you first, right? The man's fingers stroked my neck and touched my face. After a while, he sighed softly. You're safe. I should go back to save Yaoyao. The fire is quite big. What if I can't get out? He chuckled and continued. That's good too. By the way, will you miss me as much as you miss him? Alas, it doesn't matter anymore. I seemed to smell the smell of the wind, the smell of freedom. A warm touch came from my lips, like a dragonfly skimming the water. At the very end, he said, make yourself happier. Xiaozhu, I slowly opened my eyes and looked at the villa not far away. A raging fire engulfed it. Ding, a mechanical electronic sound rang in my ears. Congratulations to the host, the strategy is successful, the mission reward is being exchanged. When I saw Lin Su standing in front of me alive, I pinched my thigh hard. He held my wrist, turned his head, looked at me and smiled. Xiaozhu, I'm back. I stood there stupidly, my legs were weak, and I didn't even dare to blink. I was really scared. I was afraid that the Lin Su in front of me was an illusion. He looked at me quietly, with a gentle pull. He hugged me into his arms. My eyes were moist and hot, and I hugged him tightly back, while crying. I told him everything that had happened during this period incoherently. Talk about how the system found me after he died and when I committed suicide. Talk about the failed strategies for the first 3 times, and the sacrifice of the system. Talk about the entanglement between Jiang Yan and me. He listened very seriously, especially seriously. I finished, raised my face, and looked at him with red eyes. He gently rubbed my head. Xiaozhu, for me, you really worked hard. That night, Lin Su bought 2 tickets to Suzhou. He said that he owed me a complete wedding leave trip and wanted to pay it back. This bastard tossed me all night. At 5 o'clock the next morning, he dragged me to climb the mountain to watch the sunrise. I was so sleepy that I couldn't open my eyes, and I was dazed. I saw a strip of fish belly white along the horizon, and a red sun hung in the blue sky, and the sun dyed the clouds into rose color. I leaned on Lin Su and stared at the tear mole at the end of his eye. He noticed my gaze and raised his eyebrows at me. Ask me what's wrong, I said. People who watch the sunrise together will stay together for a long, long time. It's a silly statement, right? He also laughed and pinched my nose. Silly. I will always be by your side. Walking down the mountain in the thin mist, we arrived at Pingjiang, and it was drizzling. The boatman rowed and shouted at me, it's raining. Do you want to take a black-sailed boat? I looked back at Lin Su. He was taking off his windbreaker to block the rain for me, and he nodded faintly. The boat swayed slowly on the water, and the boatman hummed a Wu dialect tune. The breeze on both sides of the river blew over the willow branches, and the leaves floated on the water. I was looking at the scenery. I looked back and saw Lin Su leaning on the railing, looking at me. Ripples were created at the stern, the boat swayed slightly, and strands of breeze poured in. I was shaken and almost lost my seat. Lin Su held my waist tightly. The boatman turned around and told me, "Little girl, hold on to the railing." After docking, I went to pay the bill. After walking a few steps, the boatman called me and stuffed a stack of change into my hand. He also muttered, "Why did you give me an extra portion of money?" I stared at his back as he rode away in a daze. Behind me, Lin Su suddenly called me, "Xiao Zhu, let's go to Shiyuan Temple and pray for the amulet again." The hazy mist and rain separated us, and I couldn't see his expression clearly, but I still agreed. When I found Lin Su waiting under the Bodhi tree with the amulet, he still smiled at me. His smile was like a spring breeze. I threw myself into his arms and held his hand tightly. It was not a festival, and there were not many people coming and going outside the temple. I was pressed by him against the pink wall, pinching my waist and kissing fiercely. They looked like they were going to linger until death. I blushed and gently pushed him. "Hey, you're not serious." The man's cold knuckles brushed across my wrist and he said, I pulled him towards the bridge where the water was flowing, and handed him a peace charm while saying, "This time the Buddha will surely bless you with peace and safety." The touch in my hand suddenly disappeared. I turned around and looked. Lin Su's face became increasingly blurred in the light after the rain. He curved his lips towards me. "Xiao Zhu, let's say goodbye here." My heart trembled a few times. I tried to grab his hand. "Where are you going? Don't you want me?" "Lin Su, don't leave me." The tourists on the street were all looking at me. I thought I must look like a lunatic now, right? But I couldn't care less. There was only one thought in my mind. I want to catch Lin Su. Catch him. Don't let him go. Suddenly, many people's voices rang in my ears. "The river is dangerous. Don't go any further." "What's the matter? Are you going to commit suicide by jumping into the river?" "Little girl, listen to us. There is no hurdle in life that cannot be overcome. Be good. Come back soon." Those were faces full of tension, worry and concern. My eyes wandered in the crowd. Why is Lin Su not there? Where is he going? "Sister-in-law, I finally found you." Xiao Luo pushed through the crowd and shouted at me anxiously. "There is no strategy, no system. Captain Lin has been dead for 2 years. Would you come back to the hospital with me for treatment?" I was sent back to the hospital. I was sick, severe depression and severe hallucinations. Xiao Luo stood at the door of the ward and told the doctor, "Don't let her go out alone in the future." I was lying on the bed and suddenly felt a long scar on my abdomen. In a trance, I remembered many things. After Lin Su died, I was diagnosed with depression and stabbed myself. Xiao Luo came to visit me at home and happened to see this scene. So he sent me to the hospital. During that time, the most troublesome thing for the nurse who took care of me every day was how to coax me to take medicine. She should be a young girl who had just graduated, and she got angry several times. "Sister Xiao Zhu, the dead cannot be resurrected. If he were here, he would definitely hope that you would actively cooperate with the treatment, right?" I buried my head in the quilt and said in a crying voice, "Then let him come back to life." She didn't speak for a long time. She silently put the medicine on the bedside and left helplessly. I don't know how long it took. Someone sat down by my bed. It was the patient in the next bed. She was very young and looked underage. "Sister, I'm actually in the same situation as you. My boyfriend drowned himself to save a drowning girl," she said with a smile, but the sadness in her eyes still betrayed her. "If nothing unexpected happens, I may never get out of this life." Everyone around me told me, "Don't be trapped." But I really didn't. She paused, her voice choked. "I stayed here by myself." Later, she often came to talk to me, although most of the time, she was talking alone. She would share some interesting things with me, and also tell me what novels she had read recently. It was a spring day with light rain. "Sister, I have been reading system novels recently. Alas, what do you think if I become a strategist and succeed in the mission? Can all the dead people be brought back to life?" My eyes were sore. The wound on my heart had not scabbed over, and it was cut open again with a sharp knife. Yes, if there really is a system in this world, it would be great. If the strategy is successful, Lin Su can really be resurrected. So, I built a new world in my mind. In the new spiritual world, I am a strategist, and I also have a system. In order to complete the mission and revive Lin Su, a target is needed. But I can't have feelings for other people, that's why Jiang Yan looks exactly like Lin Su, and I used him to revive Lin Su. Even if he was just a virtual object, he should hate me, so the process of conquering him was so difficult. Finally, after the mission was completed, Lin Su was really resurrected. I ran out of the hospital and flew to Suzhou alone to continue our unfinished journey, because I was alone all the time, so the boatman returned the extra money to me, from beginning to end. There is no system, no capture mission, there is no Jiang Yan, and no Xing Yao Yao, only dash. I am trapped in love, repeatedly fantasizing that my lover will be resurrected, only me. All this is just my obsession to see Lin Su again. I received treatment in the hospital for a long time. I began to take medicine obediently, and occasionally chat with the nurse and the patient in the next bed. Everyone thought I was getting better. When Xiao Luo came to visit me again, he said that I looked much better. He put a bouquet of flowers on my bedside. Sister-in-law, your favorite champagne roses. I suppressed all my emotions and thanked him politely. In fact, I knew that he took care of me so much because of Lin Su's last wishes. I touched the fresh petals and said with a wry smile, that idiot. He used to give me flowers even if he was allergic. Xiao Luo said in a difficult tone, sister-in-law, please, come out. I paused, opened my lips, and whispered, okay, at the end of the month. It was my 26th birthday. The nurse ordered a cake for me and playfully spread the cream on the tip of my nose. I smiled at her. She said, Sister Xiaozhu, smile more in the future. I lowered my eyes. After a while, he spoke as if nothing had happened. Today is my birthday. Can I make a wish? Of course you can. I held the nurse's hand. I want to see Lin Su. She looked embarrassed, perhaps because she felt that I was in good condition recently. She hesitated for a moment, but finally agreed. It was the martyrs' cemetery that Xiao Luo accompanied me to. I squatted down and placed a small piece of cream cake in front of the monument without words. Stupid Lin Su, now, I am the same age as you, we will be together forever, right? I said the second half of the sentence in my heart. But Xiao Luo was still too sensitive. He wiped his tears and helped me up from the ground. Sister-in-law, it's getting dark. I'll take you back to the hospital. Looking at his expression, he seemed to be afraid that I would do something stupid again. I nodded obediently. He breathed a sigh of relief. On the way back, the streets were decorated with lights and red lanterns were hung on the branches. I suddenly remembered that it was almost New Year again. The car passed a fireworks store. I asked Xiao Luo to stop the car and bought 2 small fireworks. When he sent me to the hospital gate, he suddenly received an urgent mission call. Sister-in-law, I smiled sympathetically. Go. I can go upstairs by myself. He gritted his teeth, put me down, turned the car around and left. I stood downstairs of the hospital, holding the fireworks in my arms. I didn't go up again after all. Trekking all the way, I went to the woods where Lin Su died. By then, it was almost late at night. I lit the fireworks, leaned against the tree, and looked up at them blooming in brilliant colors in the night sky. Lin Su, Happy New Year, I smiled. Took out the fruit knife I had prepared early in the morning, and cut my wrist without any hesitation. Blood flowed all over the ground. I seemed to see the person who would never come back, and touched my head helplessly. Can't you live well? No, I didn't want to live for a long time. I said, Lin Su, take me away. He was silent for a long time, and finally took my hand. Okay, let's go home. When I closed my eyes, I was smiling, because I can finally be with Lin Su forever. When Xiao Luo found Shinju's body, the 8-meter-tall young man cried like a child. He kept saying, Brother Lin, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't take good care of my sister-in-law. When he first joined the drug enforcement team, it was Lin Su who took care of him and promoted him. So he really regarded Lin Su as his own brother from the bottom of his heart. Naturally, he also regarded Shinju as his own sister-in-law. He always knew how good the relationship between Lin Su and Shinju was, childhood sweethearts, and each other's first love. Every time Shinju came to visit the police, Lin Su's eyes seemed to be glued to her, as if he could never get enough of looking at her. Colleagues teased him, saying that he was doomed in this life. Lin Su smiled non-committally and raised his eyebrows proudly. That's my future wife, so I have to admit defeat. During the roundup mission, Xiao Luo didn't want to call Lin Su. He knew that Lin Su was on wedding leave and traveling with Shinju, but the drug dealers were too cunning. After almost 3 months of setting up the site and sacrificing 2 undercover colleagues, he saw that the plan was going to fail. He really had no choice but to call Lin Su. Seeing Lin Su rushing back to the police station, Xiao Luo's eyes were red, brother, I'm useless. You should be with your sister-in-law this time. Lin Su patted his shoulder and said, do you know the mission of the police force? The mission is always more important than life. As long as the country needs us, we can sacrifice everything. As a result, his words came true. In that encirclement and suppression operation, Lin Su was shot twice and forced into the woods by drug dealers. He covered his shot abdomen, panting in pain, and his vision began to blur. He closed his eyes, took out his mobile phone, and made a last call to Shinju. The fleeing drug dealers should be catching up soon. They fired guns, screamed and cursed strangely to provoke the police. When the phone was dialed, Shinju's voice was clearly about to cry, but she was still desperately holding back. Lin Su looked up at the fireworks exploding not far from the horizon, and asked her gently, are the fireworks this year beautiful? Shinju said, very beautiful, but not as good as the one he gave her that year. Lin Su smiled silently. He told her many times, Happy New Year. What he didn't say was, Shinju, you have to be happy in every year when I'm not around. And if the strategy mission fails, I will not only not get the mission reward, but will also be wiped out. Shinju, timid, it's better not to let her hear the bloody scene that follows. After several fights, both sides were injured. The drug dealers were shot dead by Lin Su, but he was also shot in the heart. When Xiao Luo led people to find Lin Su, his blood had already flowed all over the ground, almost dyeing the barren land red. Lin Su trembled his hands, took out a ring from his pocket, and said with difficulty, I wanted to go back alive and marry her. It seems that it's not possible now. Throw away the ring, and never tell her, my Xiao Zhu, you will get married in the future. Xiao Luo took the ring, and his fingertips were clenched white. He kept wiping tears. Lin Su lay on the ground, looking at the green bamboo shadow that seemed to be within reach in front of him, and slowly closed his eyes. The blood in his heart flowed out, like a fish drowned in the deep sea. The feeling of suffocation swept over his whole body. When the last ray of consciousness disappeared, he opened his lips with difficulty, said, Xiao Zhu, I'm sorry, I still couldn't marry you. We must love each other in the next life and hold a wedding for you. Lin Su died in the winter of 26, Shinju died in the new year of 26.